Yes, sir. I'm excited about today. We got a lot of great information. Things are moving very quickly in the real estate market, and so we're anxious to share the news.
Welcome to Real Estate Exposed.
Versus what $500,000 is going to get you here in Charlotte County.
All things real estate in the Charlotte and Sarasota County markets.
Yes, sir. At that point, I'll have to actually put pants on and not shorts.
We got Matt Patterson and Scott Newcomb on the other end of this connection.
It's so crucial to have, the correct marketing so your home stands out.
Good morning and welcome to Real Estate Exposed on News Radio WCCF. I'm Todd Matthews here to facilitate the conversation, and I know that we've got a couple of gentlemen who are chomping at the bit to talk with us on the other end of the line. They're broadcasting remotely, as we are all doing these days, so myself and Zane Scott in the studios, and Matt and Scott are somewhere a few miles away, but safely socially distanced. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Todd.
We are close by, Todd.
Sounding good, and I understand having gotten some new equipment. Everybody's got their own microphone, so things are coming along. Some adjustment to this weird broadcast configuration.
Progression, Todd.
Yeah, that's good. Just in time, you'll get everything all buttoned up. It'll be end of the pandemic. You can come in and join us in the studio. We hope.
That'd be a blessing.
That would be. It sure would. Looks like a chock full program today. I'm looking over my notes here, and we're going to be talking about how crucial it is to market your property correctly. And unfortunately, sometimes deals get blown and the whys and wherefores of that. So if it's okay with you, gentlemen, we'll just dive right in. And the first thing that pops into my mind, properties selling as quickly as they are in Charlotte and Sarasota counties, and we all know how fast they sell. How crucial is it to have the right marketing on your home?
It's very crucial, Todd. So yeah, just to speak to the how fast the homes are selling. Last week, I always love to give the stats. 282 new contracts, meaning homes that went pending under contract. Mm-hmm. And 118 new listings.
Oh my!
So once again, definitely low or no inventory, if you will. So to roll into the marketing side of it, it's very crucial because one stat I didn't say there is how many homes came back on market. As well, and part of that, what we are experiencing, we had mentioned before, people being out of town. They come in, they look at property. They find the area they want, the neighborhood they want, but unfortunately just can't secure the perfect home. Mm-hmm. So they fly back home. They're watching the computer. They're online. As great as our photography is, without doing the 360 tours, being able to walk through the home, look up, look down, see every inch of it. Some of them are putting homes under contract and then coming in town and going, it's not quite what I thought. That's right. Mm-hmm. So that's one aspect to the marketing that is absolutely crucial.
And I think that's one of the things. I mean, we've been talking about low inventories for several weeks now, but let's that's true. Revisit the numbers that Matt just mentioned. In the last 7 days, 282 properties under contract and 118 new listings to the market. So that's less than 50%. We're not filling that void that continues to get created, and that short inventory is still in effect now more than ever. And to speak on another component that Matt brought up is the fact that, we end up with multiple offers on properties on a regular basis now. But yesterday we had a property that was listed for just a couple days and ended up with, I think I had a total of 7 or 8 offers. Of those 7 or 8 offers, 5 of those people had never been in the home. And that's something that is definitely becoming more prevalent now, is what Matt said, is people have missed out on several. So they're throwing more offers out there just to get their
Safety.
foot in the door. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
safety.
And it can certainly be, having 7 offers on a property is a blessing for a seller, but that
Sure.
also leads to challenges. When we say, hey, I got 7 offers, which is the good part of the story. However, 5 of them haven't seen it, and there's some reluctancy. So we've got some tips and tricks on how to overcome that. But it is something that we're seeing on a more regular basis.
Right.
Yeah. The other side of the marketing, Todd, of course, the more eyes, that we get the properties in front of, I mean, that is our job as professional realtors, is to market your property to the masses, and, provide all of the correct information about the property to get you as many prospective buyers on that property at one time. And when we do that, ultimately it's going to be a win for you as our client.
Yeah.
Well, it would seem to me that the accuracy of the marketing is equally important, because what you're saying is some folks are taking a look and then finding out that, well, frankly, there's a disappointment perhaps. And I know that your photography, your virtual tours, I mean, they're so spot on. It must make a difference.
Yeah, we are very blessed to have Jason on our team. Does a phenomenal job, and our clients appreciate it. Buyers love it whenever there's nothing better than to hear them say, how well we represented the property. So that's fantastic. But yeah, also as far as accuracy, the information, not just the photos, the video, we are seeing a lot of them right now, where, I hear some frustrating stories where they say, oh yeah, I'd found this home and they needed a 4-bedroom and it was listed as a 4-bedroom,
Right.
and a 3-bed. They get there and it's a 3-bedroom, or we've got to be accurate with the information we're putting out there, because as we've mentioned in the past, 98% of buyers are doing their shopping online.
Right.
Even if they live 3 doors down, they are doing their shopping online from the computer, from their mobile device. And listen, we have a duty, as being a professional realtor, to give correct information.
And I think that's a huge point, because one of the saddest things that I see is when a person has a property listed with someone that may not be as familiar with the area, and they've got the data in the MLS incorrect, and that is put in very specifically so that people can set up searches. If I'm looking for a home on Sailboat Water, and you've got a home listed that is on Sailboat Water, but the agent has marked it incorrectly, that is not going to pop up for people. It's not going to show up. Or even other stories where people may be, wanting to use an agent from Naples or somewhere out of the area that doesn't have the same access, and they put it on the wrong
Or limited
MLS.
service, right.
Yeah, there's several things out there that can really cause, is a real detriment to a seller. So
I have one example to that it happened years ago, and I've always remembered it. Had a client that I met with, their home had been on the market for 100 and some days, Todd. And beautiful home. And I'm like, it was priced appropriately. Why is this home here? There's got to be something, right? So I dig into it, come to find out they were with a limited service company that wasn't familiar with the area. They had put the home in. It was on a beautiful accessed canal to the harbor, and it was not listed as water access property.
Oh, no.
We listed it, had the listing correct. It was sold in 4 days.
yeah.
Wow.
The information is crucial. And so, that's where, you have to, when you're interviewing, you need to ask those crucial questions.
We talk about marketing, and here we are. I know we're bumping up against a commercial break, but
How's that happen so
I know.
It goes by fast.
One thing I want to mention is here we are. We are in the middle of a wonderful marketing piece for our clients, our sellers. This is the extra step that we like to take to get additional information out to people. And people really enjoy that, and we're proud to bring that to them.
Absolutely. And later on in the show, towards the tail end of the program, we'll have a discussion about the hot listings of the week. And, if you happen to have a hot listing, personally, I'm a little biased here, but you can't pick a better option than advertising it on the radio.
That's right.
Amen.
Yep.
We love it. We love you, and we are so grateful to be doing this.
Yeah,
we've just had the best response from our clients.
Let me just ask you a quick question before we head into our commercial break. Maybe we can think about it over the break as well. If you've ever lost a deal because of marketing, maybe you can tell us, how that happened and ways to prevent that.
We sure will.
Yep, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Let's take a quick time out. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed on News Radio WCCS. We have Matthew Patterson and Scott Newcomb broadcasting remotely as the current social norms dictate, but still we've got a very full program still left. If you're interested at all in learning about the real estate business in Charlotte and Sarasota counties, this is the program to pay attention to. All right, guys, we're back, and when we left off, we were talking about a rather unpleasant subject, but let's face it, it's part of the business. Sometimes even the most promising of deals fall apart, even in a hot market like this. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, they do, Todd. And you mentioned before we went to break that, have you had deals fall apart
Yeah.
as a result of the marketing? And the answer to that is no. The marketing overall is not the reasons that we've lost deals here as of late.
Okay.
One of the things I mentioned in the last segment, and it's the fact that you've got all these buyers, clamoring for those few properties that are out there and willing to throw in offers sight unseen, with the idea that then once they lock it up and put it under contract, they go in and take a look and really look at it as if it's something that they want. And we're seeing it more often, certainly now, with that sort of thing, that they put it under contract and, they go in and see it the first couple days or maybe during the inspection, and we get the call that, hey, it's not really the right property for them. And that can be a real challenge for us. So we're very cautious with those offers that come in for sight unseen, and make sure our clients are properly educated on what we could be facing. It doesn't mean it's not the best offer, and it doesn't mean it can't come together, but we just have to outline, the potential downfalls of putting yourself as a seller in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then also, I would say another one top on the list right now, appraisals.
Yes.
Appraisals. Yeah. I had two of them. I was dissecting and disputing this last week, and in both instances, the lender that they had chose had ordered the appraisal, and it was an out of area appraisal. And sadly, the numbers came in significantly off, and as I dug into them, the comps that they used were wrong. And so, of course, we went to bat for our client, and, one of them I was able to keep together. The other one, it was best to move on because the home's worth it. And, they will get that price for it. So
And that's an interesting thing to bring up, because I think, Matt, when we see buyers talk about, they understand they're going through a bank and they're getting the mortgage, and they know that an appraisal is going to be part of it, but they don't understand enough about the appraisal to realize in some cases how detrimental an out of area
and
appraisal
how could
can
they,
be.
honestly?
Right,
how
I know.
could they? I mean, many of our clients have maybe purchased or sold two homes in their life. One
Right.
up north, and then when they move down here. So they shouldn't. I mean, but yeah, it's sad. The other one that we get all the time that we ought to mention, they will, and I get it. I'm from Indiana. I would have done the exact same thing. I would walk into my local bank up there that I've banked with forever,
Right.
purchased for my business, for anything, and said, hey, my wife and I want to buy a house in Florida. What do we need to do? And a lot of them initially will say, oh, absolutely, we loan in Florida. But sadly, when we've had many of them, when we get into the process and they pick a home that's on a canal on the water and it requires flood insurance, then that lender says, oh, yeah, we don't loan in flood area.
That's right.
Well, now you've taken this seller that's under contract and the buyer's hopes and went 25, 35, 40 days down the road to find this out. So that's something that for years now, initially we're going to dig into that and we're going to talk to that lender so that a way we can help ease that. And it's as simple as moving them to a local lender,
And
somebody that is used to loaning in this area.
And you need to be cautious as a buyer that both buyer and seller, how much vetting, when we're getting a contract, Matt, and we're requiring a proof of funds or a pre-approval,
Yep.
How many times have you and I looked at a pre-approval, made that call to the lender on behalf of our sellers to verify the information, and found out
They haven't.
they haven't done anything other than type up a letter for
Well,
it?
they took their word for it, Todd.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't give them correct information.
Sure.
But then, when they actually, start to run the credit, run different things, then they find out maybe, oh, I forgot about that, and it was an honest mistake, but now it just made it to where they actually can't purchase at that they don't have the same purchasing power that they did.
Right.
Or they did.
Right.
Happens all the time.
It does, and it's an important component to reach out to that lender on behalf of our clients to make sure that the buyer that's presented us an offer has gone through a verification process, so we're not just throwing it against the wall to see if it sticks. And like Matt said, it's not normally because people are trying to hide anything. It's because at that time during the call, they're not thinking about the 3 other rental properties that they own.
That's right.
Or
Right.
income if they're in a business where they own their own business. They're not thinking about the fact that their taxes last year maybe didn't reflect exactly all of the income from the business.
Well, because
the
they
way
had
it should have.
write-offs that year,
That's
whatever
right.
the case may
That's
be.
right.
We've had several clients that, well, I don't want to use a number, but let's say had substantial amount of money in 401k or, different accounts. And they think, hey, I should be fine to buy this, let's say $200,000 house. When in reality, when they dig into it with the lender, they find that if they're not actually, getting a paycheck off of that, then we have to get that set up in order for them to do so. The rules have changed. It's all about debt to income, and to have that monthly, you have to be drawing a check.
And so
And there's a fix for that.
there is. And so, to come back to our original question of seeing deals fall apart, there's where some potential deals can fall apart. Fortunately, we've got, the right components, the right procedures in place that we limit those types of things because we do verify with the lender that the proper procedures have been taken place. But certainly that can be a component where things fall apart. How about the inspections?
Yeah. A lot of them.
And I always explain to my clients in the same way, a home inspector is much like a general physician. They go in and they take a look at all the components of the home, and they're going to give you the ins and outs. The AC may be a little bit too old, or it's not quite blowing cold enough. The roof looks a little bit old, but they're not roofing specialists. They're not AC specialists.
Yeah, which in Florida, Todd, is I highly recommend bringing in that specialist for the AC for the roof, because a general inspector is only going to check the differential in temperature coming in, going out. They're not actually opening up that AC, looking at the coils, looking at other things. And we all know, actually, I'm pricing a new AC right now. Mine's 15 years old. It's time. So the only way to really protect them is bring in a specialist.
And that is some of the things that we've learned that we can do ahead of time when we go to meet with that seller and they tell us that, oh, well, we just put a roof on after Charlie. Well, we're bumping right up against the
16,
age.
17
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's unbelievable.
It is. But so
Nuisance Charlie.
we will suggest one of our roofers, and for no cost, we get him out there to take a look at it and just verify that, hey, this thing's good to go. We're not going to run into any pitfalls on that. So we like to answer those questions ahead of time for our sellers and, of course, all the potential buyers looking at our properties.
Yeah, I like the analogy too. The general physicians for your typical inspector, and that's not running them down. They're very knowledgeable people, but they're knowledgeable on the whole range of the house, and that just it's not a specialist like you said.
That's right. That's exactly right. And people understand that. You go to your general physician, you have heart problems, he's going to send you to a cardiologist.
Exactly.
You definitely want to go to. And when that home inspector sees an issue that with the septic system, potentially, let's get a septic company in there to verify what it is, what the potential costs are, and what the fixes are.
Have you seen inspections actually kind of change course, let's say, after you brought in an AC specialist or a roofing specialist, and they've come in and given a thumbs up to the system or something along those lines?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it both ways, Todd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and again, credit to home inspectors. One, I would not buy a home personally without one.
Oh, no.
And there are many, many, many great ones here. We're actually going to have some on the show in the near future.
Cool.
But I will say a great inspector, they're going to tell you right in the report how far they are able to go with this. And most of them are going to recommend you bring in a professional. They are there to again do the overall
the
inspection.
overall view, and then we work with the seller because sometimes they'll read that, okay, the AC is not blowing cold enough, there's a problem. Well, read on and see that he's recommending bringing an AC specialist. Let's take that extra step, go to a specialist, and determine what the problems are. The other day, I had an AC that was 16 years old per the manufacturer date, but all the internals, every component of that thing has been swapped out in the last 2 years.
Oh.
The inspector didn't catch that. He just saw the date of
The age, yeah.
the age. So when we brought a specialist in and said, really, you're dealing with a 2-year-old AC system, both buyer and seller was satisfied, and we were able to move forward because we had, so to speak, a clean bill of health from that AC contractor.
Wow. That's an amazing story. It really hammers the point home. Just real quick, I want to double back on something. We were talking about disputing appraisals. And you used, Matt, a very common term. We hear it all the time, comps. And I know that stands for comparables. But I've never known exactly what that means. Can you explain a little bit what comps are?
Yeah, great question, Todd. They are comparable properties to the subject. Subject meaning the home that we are
Under contract.
Right,
on.
right.
So what they do is they are going to search and naturally they're going to try to stay as close as possible to the subject property. They are going to try to stay as similar in square footage. If it's on the water, pool, no pool, and then they're going to take those properties and same thing we do when we do a CMA, a comparative market analysis, which is our version of an appraisal. And for any of the differences that are there, we're going to plus or subtract to get you the most accurate value of the property.
That's right.
Is there any rhyme or reason to figuring out how the general neighborhood it compares? In other words, your next door neighbors have a much less expensive home than you, and many neighborhoods are laid out like that. Does that affect the price of your home, or is it not apples and oranges?
Well, I mean, obviously, the areas like Port Charlotte, non-deed restricted, you can have a beautiful, brand new 3,000 square foot home next to a home that was built in 1967 that's
Correct.
1,100 square feet.
That's what I'm thinking, yes.
Not comparables,
Yeah.
even though they're next to each other.
And I think more importantly, it's how that 1967 has been kept up.
Well, of course, sure.
And that's first impression right there.
Sure.
If it's an abandoned home, that's one thing. If it is kept up and it's nice, but no, that home is not going to directly affect that one.
Right.
In my personal opinion, I don't see it on appraisals that way.
No, they're going to be more similar in structure, and they do have a certain radius that is required to be used, and sometimes they can go outside that 1 mile radius. However, for the most part, most areas, at least the real populated areas, you can find all the comparables you need within that 1 mile radius, and then of course there's a time frame on it.
That was another problem I had with that appraisal. That, believe it or not, he ended up going up 2.7 miles to almost 3 miles away.
That's like a different one.
Which when there was plenty of comparable properties close by, to where it was just another red flag after red flag after red flag. I mean, we were talking about a $50,000 difference on this.
And it's an important thing. I mean, when we're working with you as the seller, we're fighting for you to get the price, just like you're fighting to get the price.
That's right.
And that's right. And that's why we're able to go back and review. And these appraisals are 60 to 70 pages long, so it's not something we knock out in 15 minutes. It takes hours to really do the research, but it's worth it. Yeah. And we're able to, give our sellers the peace of mind that they need so that we can move forward, whether it's with this buyer or the next one. We help them understand what an appraisal is and where the pitfalls are, if there are any.
Well, credit to your team for spotting that and finding that out and being able to successfully fight that, because so often that might have been the end of the deal. We are up against the clock again, gentlemen, so let's take our next time out. And when we come back, I know that now that this radio program has been on the air for a certain amount of time, you get a steady stream of questions from the listeners. How about we go over some of those?
That's perfect.
Love it.
All right. Quick time out. Right back on Real Estate Exposed at News Radio. Now return to our conversation with Matt and Scott. And, I mentioned before the break, I know you get a constant stream of questions from our listeners these days. We probably should also, before we start anything else, give out your contact information.
I agree. I was starting to get itchy that I haven't given the phone number. Yeah, we can be reached at 941-621-8600, 7 days a week. You have any questions or you hear a property that you want to find out more about or you need help with anything real estate wise, give us a call. Also, online, realestateexposed.com. Realestateexposed.com. That's where we take these questions. We've got some of the properties we're going to be talking about later will be posted there. There's just a wealth of information available for you.
Absolutely. And again, that number is 941-621-8600. And as I have said so many times on this and other radio stations, if you have any general question about real estate, it doesn't have to be selling my home or buying a home, just a general question. Feel free to call and ask.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Everyone, and myself, you know, you always want to know, it's one of your prized possession, your number one asset.
Sure.
Even if you're not looking to sell or buy it for 10 years, it's, you know, a lot of times I want to know what's the value of my home.
And that's a huge
absolutely.
point. I mean, I get people that call in and the first thing they'll say to me is, I'm not ready to do anything. I'm not ready to do anything. And that is no problem. I don't expect everyone to call me the same day they want a sign in the front yard.
Right.
But we're okay with that.
Yeah, we're okay with
We're
that.
okay with that.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like selling, you know, a pair of shoes or some tools at a garage sale. This is a big deal. So let's take some time. Let's prepare for it, whatever it is, whether in a week, a month, a year, we're ready to help get you along the way.
And the more time we have, the better and the easier it is on everyone.
Absolutely.
And true anecdote, I've had more than one person say to me, you know, I want to ask a question of that real estate guy who's a friend of yours, but it's such a simple question, and I don't want to bother, and can you ask for me? And I'm saying, no, you ask. They get questions just like you're going to ask every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions actually are being asked by our listeners?
I've got to add this because I get this probably 3 times a week. You know how many people come down from the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, are there alligators in my backyard?
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know what people in the Midwest think that we just have alligators
I'm from
up in
the Midwest.
Well, me too, but I think there's this general conception that there's alligator crossings at
Everywhere.
If you leave your car unlocked, an alligator will end up in the back seat.
And it could happen. You know, we've seen them on the news show up in people's kitchens.
I love that question.
Yeah, that is cute, and hopefully they are somewhat relieved to hear that, especially if you're not on waterfront property, your risk is a little reduced. Let's say
For the most part,
It's
you're okay.
true. A lot of them, though, they're honestly, it has to do with their pets too.
Sure.
absolutely.
And you know, we're huge animal lovers, so I get it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so let's get into our questions.
Yes.
This is one that we get quite often, especially when we have someone that's you know, out of our area, or they are you know, have a property up north. They want to know what questions they should be asking a realtor when interviewing them to sell their property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a great question. You know, first and foremost, it is, again, with everything we've talked about marketing and how important it is. And, you know, ultimately that determines what you end up getting for the home. The more people you get interested in it, like we've said. So I would start there. You know, what are the most effective ways, you know, in their opinion, to advertise real estate to prospective buyers? And that's gonna open up that conversation and what kind of marketing they do. If they are more old school and they're talking print advertising, putting you in a newspaper or magazine. Well, honestly, Todd, the homes are sold before the print ever comes out.
Yeah.
You know, that is so much faster. I can reach so many more people nationally, internationally. So that's a big one right there. What about you?
And I like to call it the 3 Ps. You know, I talk to people about, you know, there's many agents out there that have made a very good listing by going in, taking the photographs, putting a sign in the front yard, and then praying that someone comes along and sells it for them. You know, we call those the 3 Ps in the business. And that's really the best place to start when you're speaking to an agent is, what do you do to sell my property? What are you doing to properly represent me? And how are you going above and beyond to put me at the top of the list so I can get top value? And again, we circle back, just look at this radio show. There's so many components like this that we've put in place, but most importantly, we've got a wonderful team of internal sales agents that pound the phones every day, letting all of our buyers looking for a property or getting ready to look for a property, they're getting phone calls and they're getting told about your property on the phone before it's hitting the MLS so they can get prepared for it, so they can get excited about it. You have to actively be engaging people out there and letting them know what's going on, because we all have cell phones. We all have the ability to look at Zillow, but let's take it a step further. Let's get people psyched up about this property.
Absolutely.
Also, with the times that we are in, until we feel all clear, if you will, I'd be asking about how they're going to protect you, how they're going to protect you and your family as far as COVID and introducing people to your property. There is no way to do no risk unless you choose to move out of the home before you put it on the market.
Right.
That is the only way. But if you are living there, what are they going to do to help reduce that?
Is there even a possibility of an traditional open house these days, or is that taboo?
There are. Initially, Todd, in the early days of COVID, the Board of Realtors, they stopped all of that.
Yes.
Since then, it has been. I know in other parts of the country, when I'm on calls with those teams, they still are not. Depends on the state you're in. In the state of Florida, I can tell you here, we are allowed to do them. So that's a conversation that we have when we meet with them to list the home.
Okay.
We want to do what their wishes are, and some definitely want one. Others do not. I assure you, and it's a much deeper conversation. We can successfully sell your home for the same amount of money without them. With the technology we have now.
So ask about safety, ask about marketing, and overall, ask about what is your plan, an overall plan to get the home sold. Terrific. What else?
What's the next question?
There's one thing that comes to mind with me, and there's a component that I think a lot of people forget about, and that's the negotiations. It's important that you as the seller understands your agent's capabilities to negotiate to get the best value for you. And a lot of that comes from experience. Much of it comes from patience. But to me, the biggest thing is understanding what our sellers need. What is their end result? And obviously, everyone's number one is, well, to get as much money as possible. But in this market, there's much, much more to that. It's where are you going to go? When do you need to be there? Is there family that's going to be a part of the equation for your moving? And it's important that we have a thorough understanding of what their needs are so that we can properly negotiate and get the best deal for them in every aspect, not just the dollar amount, which is obvious to everyone, but okay, how much time do you need in home? Do we need to work out a post-occupancy so you can stay there a little bit longer? If you're looking to purchase a home in a market that's incredibly depleted on inventory, what sort of things should we look to build into the sales contract so that we can help keep this process as smooth and worry-free as possible for you? So, and many agents, once they get that offer, unfortunately, it's here's the offer, take a look at it. If you're good with it, let's get it signed. But, some time really needs to be given before this huge decision and this big chapter, which moving, as we know, can be quite a stressor in some cases. Before you start to undertake that, you want to make sure everything is lined up properly on the contract.
Are you still getting questions from listeners about the simultaneous selling of your current property and buying another property and the intricacies of that?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's the big situation right now, as far which we have multiple ways, things to do to help that. But yes, we are getting that a lot.
And it's a normal thing, especially when we've got people making that transition into retirement from up north. Many of them do have a home in all different states with all different types of contracts and all different rules. New York in particular is one I'm dealing with right now. The buyer for one of our properties is selling a home in New York, and New York is an attorney state, so you've got multiple attorneys involved. Dates can be somewhat flexible, and it can be a real challenge, but we're used to it, we deal with it, and we know how to protect our clients properly.
Yeah, and I imagine that is a fear for some folks because nobody wants to live in a motel for 2 months while you work out the details. So,
that's right.
Again, questions that you guys get all the time. What other kinds of questions are our very brilliant listeners coming up with?
One of the big ones that I get is, if they've had their home on the market currently with someone else and they're calling asking advice, they want to know well, I was getting a lot of showings in the beginning, but I'm not now. Why is that? Well, I mean, historically, the longer a property is on the market, the less attention it's going to get, and the less a buyer thinks that they're required to pay for it. So that's, we call it stale. That's something that you do not want to happen. So usually, we have some creative ways, to help that. But that, again, is why marketing is so crucial. Done correctly, the home will not become stale, will sell quickly, and for top dollar.
And that's something, too, that a FSBO, for sale by owner, is not going to really be able to pull off. And it's kind of tricky, I know. Going from stale to fresh again is a tough transition, but you guys do it all the time.
We do, and we've had great success with it. One of them that we listed here not long had been on 280 some days. And within 8 days we were back on market, had sold in 3.
Okay.
As far as for sale by owner, it's interesting. In this hot of a market, I actually had met with one a few weeks ago, and this person, quite frankly, said, "Well, I don't think I need you in this hot of a market.
Right.
Home selling so quick, so why would I pay that fee if you're going to sell it in 2 days?"
Right.
Well, the difference is, as we went through it, there's 186 different individual things that a realtor should be doing from start to finish, from listing the property to closing it. It is not just about taking the photos, throwing it in MLS, and or putting it on a site and it's selling in 2 days. It's negotiating, getting the most money, which historically, with an agent, you're going to get, 5 to 7% more. So it's very, very important.
And we are up against the clock here, but I think it's worth pointing out, statistically speaking, I've always heard you'll not only get more, bottom line, but your home will sell faster, statistically, with an agent in your corner.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay. Let's take a quick time out. The hot listings of the week are coming up next. This is my favorite part of the program. A lot of folks love this part. So stick around for more Real Estate Exposed on News Radio WCCF. This is Real Estate Exposed. Welcome back. This is, for some, the favorite part of the program. Matthew Patterson and Scott Newcomb have got the hot listings of the week. Before we dive into that, let me remind you that many of these listings can be seen at realestateexposed.com, realestateexposed.com, and you can call for more information on any of these properties at 941-621-8600. So take us to our first destination, gentlemen.
Yes, let's expose some new houses.
That's
Yes.
right. I'm going right down the street with this first one. Right here in PGI, we've got a listing on Cimarron that literally went on the market this morning.
Yeah, a few hours ago.
Beautiful property. Listed it for $749,000. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, private pool. Great access to water, 85 feet of water frontage, over 2,500 square feet, and finished to the nines. It's really beautiful. This one will not last long. And
No, I think it had, Scott, before we started the show, I think it had 5 showings scheduled.
Yeah, and it went on this morning. So
Wow.
that's what we're up against with it, but really a great property. 1016 Cimarron Drive, Punta Gorda. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah, and I want to mention on that, Scott, that's why it's crucial. If you are in the market and you're wanting to purchase a home, this home, we have a coming soon list that we get out to our database, to our clients ahead of time.
That's right.
So we would be happy to put you on that list if you are looking, because just like this, it's been a couple hours and it's got 5 showings. We not only have a database, we now have them up on the wall and the market, and I'm not exaggerating.
That's right.
We have whiteboards with them and with their needs, their wants, their desires, because as we are listing properties, our job is to find them properties and match them with them.
Well, we're doing everything we can right now in a market
still don't
like
have enough
this.
houses.
That's right. But when we know of a listing coming up that we're going to list for next week, and we've got the Joneses looking for a 3-2 with a pool in Port Charlotte, grab that note card off the wall and give them a call and let them know that this is coming. Let them know it's coming down the road, because most people need a little time to digest it. You can't just walk into it and be ready to roll with it. So that's one of the advantages.
All right, is it my turn?
Go.
Okay. All right, love it, because I know we're short on time and we've got great properties to talk about.
Terrific.
So I've got 2 of them with double lots, which everyone loves. I love. So The first one is on Lorette in Port Charlotte, which, if you're familiar with the area, is right off of Atwater. It is on a double lot, which I mentioned. Gorgeous home, updated a few years ago. This property will not last long. It's going on the market at $425. 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Again, double lot.
Do you have a specific street address for that one?
I do. 20363 Lorette.
Okay. Yeah, double lots are extremely popular and for good reason. Elbow room, we all enjoy some of that.
Everybody wants space.
Everybody wants a double lot, and how about a 3-car garage?
You're speaking my language.
I know, everyone's ears perk up with that.
Yeah.
I've got one coming in Deep Creek, will be on the market and available to the public tomorrow, but give us a call today. Right on Macoro, 194 Macoro. This is a big home. It's a 2-story home. It's 3312 under air, so 3,300 square feet under air, almost 4,500 total. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and a 3-car garage. And I was in this property just about 10 days ago. It is finished gorgeously. High-end cabinetry. They've got a warming drawer in the kitchen. I mean, really, really finished nice. Beautiful flooring. It's move-in ready, and the expense on getting things upgraded the way you want have been put into it. So don't miss out. Again, that's 194 Macoro Street.
Macoro Street, is that right?
Yes, Macoro Street in Deep Creek, which is Punta Gorda 3398.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. I'm going right to Deep Creek as well. This one is at 25940 Asen Drive. Again, double lot.
Yep.
Love it. I sold them this home 5-6 years ago. They went in, all new tile, kitchen, everything. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. The fence, actually, they fenced both properties together. So they have children, they have pets, and nothing can be built behind it. So a lot of privacy there. This home is not active yet, but will be, and we will be having an open house there this Saturday, 11 to 2.
I'm glad I asked the question earlier. That's terrific. And
I'm sorry, and it's going on the market at $349,900.
$349,900. And worth pointing out, I want to double emphasize, not active now, meaning this is as hot of a listing as you can possibly find. And one phone call gets you all the details at 941-621-8600.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Perfect.
Okay. Yep. What else?
I got a condo, 5119 Melbourne Street, Unit 101, listed at $230,000. Now, this is a newer building. It's in Port Charlotte 33980, which is actually called the Preserves of Charlotte Harbor, at Charlotte Harbor. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, really a nice place, beautiful building with some nice amenities, 1,800 square feet. At $230,000 for a 2005, I think it's a tremendous deal.
Well, and I know this condo well. I'm actually related to them. I will tell you, it is furnished, completely turnkey furnished. This house being sold, everything, and it is decorated to the nines, updated, decorated beautifully, and all appliances and all the high-end appliances. So it is move-in ready.
Turnkey is such a wonderful thing. That literally means bring your swimsuit and your toothbrush and you're good to go.
That's right.
You don't have to make those expensive runs to Target and Home Depot to get all that stuff. It's there for you.
And enjoy the condo lifestyle, which, as we all know, is very well suited to Southwest Florida and all of the things we can take in and do.
Yeah, and this condo here, you're walking. I mean, you're right by the harbor, the bridge. I mean, you can walk to the restaurants.
Sure.
Everywhere. So that's great.
All right. What's up next?
I've got one more, and I mentioned it last week.
Yep.
And said I wasn't sure quite when it was coming on. Well, this one is in Grassy Point. It's going to be live on Friday, and it is direct on the water view. Boat slip in the marina. It is going on the market at $1.8 million. This house is spectacular.
You said water view, but I don't know that does it justice.
That's true.
It's probably got, if not the best western view over the harbor. To me, it's the best western view over the harbor I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. Even the master bedroom closet has a window that, bar none, It is the best view from a closet I've ever seen in my entire real estate life. It really is a tremendous home, a large, I would call majestic home in a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah, 4,000, little right over 4,800 square feet under air, built in 2005. This is the one I mentioned as the elevator.
Yep.
Right.
Large parking, huge garage, huge storage for all the toys. This would be perfect for you, Todd, since you do have toys.
Who doesn't need it? And who doesn't need it?
On a DJ salary, right.
That's right.
But you know what? I do remember you mentioning this last week, and a point worth emphasizing. We're talking about Grassy Point. These are listings that just don't come up very often, if ever.
No.
Yeah, not with the big water views like this.
No.
The thing about Grassy Point is only a handful of those have that open water view. A lot of them are on the inside there. And so this is it's quite a home. It really is quite a property.
All right. We've only got about a minute left, gentlemen, so I think that kind of precludes, unless you've got something really quick for a listing you want to kind of slip in.
I got to get back to Deep Creek. I got a condo there on Rio de Janeiro. Wonderful price point at $169,900, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Give us a call on it because it won't stick around.
Scott, that was excellent.
Thank you.
Good.
You've got a career, you've got a future in radio when you're done with this real estate nonsense.
Easy, Todd.
Hey, listen, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time, and we'll look forward to talking next week.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Real Estate Exposed on News Radio WCCF, brought to you by the Patterson Group.